Hello and welcome back to our Let's Play of Lamplight City. My name is Darwin and I play video games. In our last episode, we learned that our partner Bill, who we shot accidentally, our bad, his voice is inside of our head. Don't know if it's just like a going insane kind of thing or if it's a supernatural kind of thing. We quit the police force. And now we take odd jobs from Constance, who gives us little tips and tidbits here and there to solve cases that the chief of police doesn't really want to do. So we are going to investigate an interesting case where this lady was thought to be dead, was about to be buried. Knocking came from her coffin. And apparently she wasn't dead, and somebody got accused of using black magic, and now we need to go talk to him. So, take a look at our case file here. So, current case, a premature inhumation. Did Albert Martin really do what he's accused of and cause Madame Laura Dupre to almost be interred alive, or was it someone else? We need to question residents of Dupre Manor and question Albert Martin in jail. Now, we aren't actually a part of the police anymore. So, if we run into them, it might spell trouble. We have no clues, we have no suspects. We did get a message from Upton, and we just finished meeting her at the coffee house. So, why don't we head over to the jail and question Mr. Martin.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something a cat spat up.
Hello, Giles. It's lovely to see you, too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he?
Well,
Either crime is low, or the police aren't doing their jobs very well. I bet that's a direct line to the police department. You should make a rude noise into it when Giles isn't paying attention. He's watching you like a hawk. Looks liable to toss you in one of his cells if you try any funny business.
Didn't you just tell me to make a funny noise?
Not much of a view. But then it's not as though people in here are meant to have many luxuries.
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Dupre. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Do you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame Dupre. The next thing I knew, I was here. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with worry. I just hope she's all right.
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She helps people.
I was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... how can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame Dupre's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship and the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
Of course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it wasn't you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin.
Didn't we say we believed in his innocence, and now we're questioning him just a couple questions in to our conversation?
Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame Dupre's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with Dupre's daughter, Juliet Montgomery. Dupre doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and, loving as my dear Juliet.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
You said it, Bill.
Tell me about Juliet.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days. Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliet studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say. Had the same taste in books and art. Didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better. I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
That's all for now.
Oh, wait. Before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose I could do that, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Whatever happened to a simple I love you?
Curiouser and curiouser. Well, I'm not sure what to believe just yet. We go to the university. Go to Dupre Manor. Let's talk to the Dupres before we go see his mother.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she's in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes.
This is a family in decline.
Her eyes are glazed over, and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person. With her vast sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
She is a great woman and a pillar of the community. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her, or how someone could be capable of such a barbaric feat. Though this ordeal has been terrible, I am confident she will overcome. The power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her strength of character.
You think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt it.
What were the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Dupre had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Dupre wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look.
The son calls. The doctor pronounces dead. Are we looking at a conspiracy here, guys? Tell me about yourself, Doctor.
How long have you been Madame Dupre's private physician?
5 years, and I've been practicing medicine for the past 30. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview Asylum.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky, he could be your doctor someday.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly heal broken bones, among other things. If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
Did you examine Madame Dupre after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however. She's remained in an unresponsive state ever since.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Dupre to appear dead?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
So either something happened to her and she was poisoned, but not really dead, or she was dead and there's some sort of weird steampunky ethericity going on here. Let's find out more.
What leads you to believe Madame Dupre was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of black magic cult? There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear dead, then commanding them to do their bidding. I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried. He appeared alive in his village some 20 years later.
Doesn't that seem a bit far-fetched to you, Doctor?
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham. Surely someone in your line of work can appreciate that.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
I don't believe that we have the same definition of fact as you, Doctor. What are our new objectives? Speak to Juliet Montgomery at the university, deliver a message to Albert Martin's mother, investigate the Chesterton tomb. We do have Dr. Fellows' testimony. No suspects, no more documents. Let's go inside the house.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them. Not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes, well, I'll have a look around, and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him.
He is high as a kite, that is for sure.
What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupreys a cool copper.
We can talk to the parrot.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Holly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
Pieces of 8?
Oh, that is a great reference to a great game. I can't believe they threw that in there. Oh, that just made my night.
So long, Birdie.
Bye-bye.
Do you suppose that's for the bird? Or perhaps so the Duprey family members can get a good look at themselves on the way out of the house? Duprey looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life.
Kitchen, upstairs. Let's talk to Andrew.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
How good is the testimony of somebody who's this flippin' high?
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
What can you tell me about Madame Duprey?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
I'm reminded of a famous quote, Mr. Fordham. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Let us part on good terms and avoid the subject altogether, please.
Sibling rivalry?
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is that bad, do you think?
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery. Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
We'll circle back around and talk to him. And I think this is where we're going to leave it for now. Next time, we will start exploring the house, seeing if there's anyone else here. And check out some of the other locations, see where this case takes us. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked the video, please like it. And if you really like the content, then please subscribe to my channel. I will see you on the flip side.